Hey guys, Gary Duke here at Straightforward Therapeutics coming right back at you, and we're talking about overcoming addiction, and we're getting really serious about it. Last session was entitled Liberation Day. I'm going to call this one Liberation Day Part 2. Simply because we're still talking about getting out of the shadows and into the light and what that really entails. Bill Wilson, who's the founder of AA, would have said in regards to isolation, addiction isolates us into death, but community restores us into life. You know, in the story, this series has been called From the Well to the Spring, based on the woman at the well. And, you know, when she began to see the light, the first thing she did was run into the village and begin to call to all the people around her, come and see a man who told me everything I did. The thing that she was most ashamed of became the heralding message that brought people to freedom themselves. And so, you know, I mean, the shame and the guilt was gone. It was no reason to hide. She already knew, everybody knew about her anyway. You know, the isolation that she had going on was really for her own benefit, not for anybody else's. And so anyhow, I want to talk to you today about the need to break out of that isolation. And there's two things. One thing is overcoming secretiveness. The other thing is identifying the power of community. Excuse me, or being with other people. One of the things that makes the AA program so powerful, and probably one of the main aspects of it, and what Bill Wilson learned very quickly, is that he could not overcome it on his own. And the most powerful part of any AA meeting is when somebody comes in for the very first time, sits down in that circle or at that table in that dingy basement or wherever they're having them meetings at, and says, "Hi, I'm Gary and I'm an alcoholic," or "Hi, I'm Gary and I'm a sex addict," or whatever it is. And all those other people who have already been through that look at him or her and say, "Hi, Mary." You know, and so like they're accepting, because they know that, you know what, we're all in the same boat. We've all been there, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And there is such a powerful sense of respect that comes back at you when you're able to admit that. But that is a really hard thing to do, because we believe the lies that you know, we've got to remain in secret in order to overcome this stuff. Or you know, that we're afraid people are going to reject us or whatever. Okay, so I want to talk about some things about secrets. Addiction grows in isolation. The more we isolate ourselves, the greater our addiction is going to become, because the secrets just get bigger. And we continue to withdraw ourselves from the people around us who care about us, the people who could possibly lend us some help. We tell ourselves that they're not going to accept us. They're going to reject us. If they really knew me, they wouldn't love me like they do now. Our secrets create a divided life. We are living basically two lives. You know, in the book of James, it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That word double-minded in the Greek is really the same word as double-souled. Your soul is really who you are as a person. And basically what it's saying is when you're not totally committed, when you're living a double life, your soul, your person is fractured. You're broken. And then isn't that really what an addict is a broken individual? And our shame continues to increase. The more we isolate ourselves, the more we give ourselves freedom to do what we don't want to do or what we know we shouldn't do, because we feel like we're hidden in the darkness, that what we're doing is not known. And so we continue to do it even more. And guess what? Our shame continues to just get larger and larger. The guilt package that we're carrying on our back, that burden, that rock, that thing that is on our backs that we just that continues to weigh us down, man, it just piles on. It just piles on. And so the more pain we feel, the more we're trying to ease that pain with the very thing that's creating the shame and the guilt. Can you see the cycle that's going on in your life if you're caught up in this? Our integrity becomes fractured. You can't live an addict's life and be a person of character and integrity. I'm going to tell you something. You may be an addict and you may tell yourself you love your family, and you do love them as best as you can right now. But you're not going to be able to love your wife and your kids and be the person that you need to be in their life when you are addicted and you're struggling in this darkness of addiction and secretiveness, because so much of your time and your thoughts and your effort and even your resources are devoted to keeping this addiction moving forward. So here is some things I want to talk to you about today. This is really a workable thing. I want you to take your journals or take a piece of paper or a legal pad or whatever. And I've got some things, some questions, and you may have to rewind this video several times in order to get all these questions written down. But please make the effort to do so, okay? Because I think it will really help you. Because you know what? We have to work this stuff out in our heart, you know, so that we are aware of the fact that, man, this is not something that's appealing. Addiction, whatever we're addicted to, looks so appealing. And in the midst of it, we tell ourselves, I know I need to be free from this, but there's a part of us like, I don't want to give this up. I don't think I can give it up. I need this. I don't know if I can live life without it. And like I said before, with your journal, if you sit down and visualize, write out your vision of what your life would look like if this was not a part of your life, all the areas that it would affect, I mean, you'll begin to see that the attractiveness of that thing isn't nearly as appealing as you thought it would be. Here are some questions that I want you to write down, and in your time, it's not something you can just sit down and just answer right off, but it's something that really takes serious reflection on your part, but will help move you forward in this process. The first question is what am I most afraid to be honest about? What am I most afraid to be honest about? In what ways have I minimized or justified my addiction? Addiction is like that. We make a lot of excuses. We minimize it. We justify it. We blame other people for what we do. We tell ourselves if I was just treated different, or if somebody else was, wasn't such a pain in my life or whatever, if my finances were better, I wouldn't have to struggle so much. All of that stuff is just excuses. What consequences of my addiction have I downplayed or I have ignored? Sit down and identify all the negative consequences of what's taken place in your life as a result of this addiction. What patterns of thinking do I use to protect the addiction? We guard our addiction, don't we? Man, when you're an addict, you guard it, man. I mean, like, you are making sure that it can go forward. You plan ahead to make sure that it's going to happen. I remember when I was in the midst of my addiction and acting out my drug addiction. I would start Monday or Tuesday after I'd done spent all my money on the weekend, planning out what I'm going to do in the following weekend just to keep that addiction going. And it's like we're very strategic about keeping that addiction going. What parts of my life are hidden from others right now? This is called a secrecy inventory. A secrecy inventory. What parts of my life are hidden from others right now? Here's one. Who am I afraid to tell the truth to, and why? Who am I afraid to tell the truth to, and why? Let me give you a little insight. More than likely, the person that you're afraid to tell the truth to already knows the truth. They're just waiting for you to admit it. We think we have people fooled. We don't really have people fooled. People can see through us. Even our kids, our little kids, they know when something's wrong with mama and daddy. They know when there's something troubling in their spirits and in their lives. Who do I believe, what do I believe would happen if this secret was exposed? And again, we tend to take the worst case scenario. You know, if I told my employer that I am struggling with addiction, they're probably going to fire me, or everybody in the company is going to know that I've got a problem. Let me give you a news flash. You're not the only one. You're not the only one that's been there. And most companies have interventions and provisions that they have set aside to help their employees. If you go to your pastor, you know, I pastored for many years. I'm a minister. I've been a minister for 39 years, okay? And I remember when I was pastoring in Knoll for 12 years, and a couple of times people came to me, and when something came out, and I said, "Man, why didn't you talk to me?" And they said, "Oh, I was afraid to talk to you." And I'm thinking, you're afraid to talk to the pastor who's trying to help you to get to heaven and to live a victorious life? I mean, like, if you can't talk to your pastor, I mean, if you can't talk to your wife or your best friend or somebody that you think really genuinely cares about you, I mean, like, you know, what's wrong with that? I mean, like, that is just a false facade that's keeping us in that same dark place. This can be your liberation day. Let me tell you today that liberation is a choice. It is a job. It is a struggle. It is a process. But first of all, first and foremost, it is a choice. It's a choice that you have to make, that I'm going to live free. I am going to live free. You know, the subtitle of this series is Learning to Live Free. And man, we're just scratching the surface. I don't know how long this series is going to go, but I feel in my spirit that there are people that are listening to this there is a little glimmers of hope that are coming into their mind, and they're starting to see that, you know what, maybe there is another way. Maybe there is hope. Man, if you knew my life, if you knew the life that I lived, and I'm sitting here telling you how you can be free, you would be saying, this guy knows where he's coming from. Guys, you'll never meet a bigger addict than the one you're looking at right now. I mean, like, you know, I was a stone cold needle freak and just, you know, pothead, pornography, alcohol, anything you can think of. And my life was consumed by addiction. And I'm here to tell you today that there is hope. There is hope. So here's some more things here. Here's a couple of things. That you can write about in your journal. What is one truth I need to begin telling first to myself and then to someone safe? You need a safe person, but first you got to tell it to yourself. What is one truth that you can tell to yourself that you're willing to tell to somebody else? You have to have somebody else in your life that can help lead you. If you don't have anybody, man, go to any counseling center. Go to an emergency room at your local hospital. Ask them, where are the AA meetings or the NA meetings or the Celebrate Recovery meetings? Look it up online. Celebrate Recovery is a great program, and churches have them all over everywhere. Where is there a place that I can go to, even though I don't know one person? And maybe that might even be easier for you to be able to tell it to somebody that you never met in your life, rather than somebody that you think, is going to think ill of you. Finish this sentence. If I lived more honestly, my life would begin to change in these ways. And then identify the ways that your life could change. We got to begin to form a new reality, okay? You got to begin to see that there is something different than what you're believing right now. You're basing your addiction on a lot of false beliefs and false premises. And there is a different way altogether. You got to think beyond that. You know, when I was an addict, when I got saved, I was a heroin addict. I woke up every day with one thought on my mind. My first shot. If I didn't have one, I had to figure out how to get one. And when I got that one, then my second thought was, where do I get the next one? And every day was consumed. All my activities was consumed around that. Prior to that, man, if I was doing anything, going camping, going fishing, doing things that I could, that you can genuinely enjoy without any substance whatsoever, my only thought was, how much alcohol is going to be there? Am I going to have drugs to do it because my life I was living the lie that the only way that I can enjoy myself is to have some sort of a substance to make me feel better. Woo! I want you to know something. I've changed from the well to the spring. There is a joy. There is something that is offered by the Lord Jesus Christ in the kingdom of God that every single person can partake of. And all you got to do is just receive it. Just receive it. I'm not saying that everything's going to go away the moment you do that, but you know what? You'll get enough right off the beginning to know that there's something beyond what you got and that there's still hope to move forward. We're talking about progress here, guys. Listen, today could be your liberation day. You need to make the choice that you are going to do one thing that's going to move you closer to freedom. Whether it's writing these journal entries and really begin to process within yourself the things that you're cheating yourself out of and what's keeping you in bondage. Identify one person that you can feel safe with, that you can talk to. And, go find where the local meetings are in your area and put it on your calendar and make a commitment that I'm at least going to go to one meeting. I'm going to go to one meeting and I'm going to be honest with somebody. If you'll just do one thing that'll move that needle forward a little bit, you're going to be on the road to recovery. You're going to be on the road to recovery. Listen, don't worry about it. Will I relapse? Relapse is a part of recovery. Yeah, you probably will relapse. You're going to make mistakes. Maybe you won't, but there's a good chance you will. But guess what? You will have learned from it every time and you'll have more strength to move forward. There's nothing wrong with falling down. It's getting up is the problem. When you don't get up, that's a problem, okay? And so anyway, we're going to be talking about something in the next video that's going to be more helpful as well. I hope you're with me. I hope you're getting somebody on board that's needing this. And I'm looking forward to hearing from some of you about your road to recovery and how God is speaking to your life. So I'll see you next time.